What is up, everybody? Welcome to Late Night Live with Sean. I am your host, Sean. This is brought to you by the Antisocial Network. Little shameless plug before I get into my guest. Um, if you want to go and support the channel, like, subscribe, comment. I hate doing that shit, but that's the only way that we get ahead in doing things in this realm. And secondly, I have a Patreon. If you want to go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon, there's 3 tiers. Choose whatever tier you want. If not, it's all good. Before we get into our guests, we got Dale. What's up, Dale? I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. But tonight, my guest, fellow podcaster, fellow Antisocial Network member, Jeremy Bryant. What's up, man?
Not much, brother. Just living the podcast dream.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. How's your night going?
Night's going pretty good. A lot of podcast work got done. Now I get to just unwind with a homie and then hit the hay. So I love it.
Unwind with the homie. That sounds good. That sounds like fun. Sounds like a whole lot of fun. So let's dive into it, man. What got you into podcasting?
Honestly, just an invite on a Facebook page. That's what got me into podcasting, and it was just from there. It's something I always kind of wanted to do, like listening to the greats like Kevin Smith and Mark Maron and whatnot, and some paranormal podcasters out there like Derek Hayes, listening to them for years. I kind of wanted to do it, but I just didn't know where to start. And then a random post on a Facebook page saying, I want to start a podcast doing what we do on this page. Let's start one. And I was like, all right, I'm down. I'll put my name in the ring. And that's basically what got me launched off. And then a couple months into it, I started my own.
That's sick. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's kind of how it all starts. There's like a little spark. There's an idea, and then somebody invites you in. Like I got invited by my buddy Jukebox Ginger into a panel podcast, and we're talking about spirituality and supernatural shit. And next thing I know, I'm sucked all the way in. I'm just full send all the way into podcasting. It's fucking madness.
All it takes is a spark of rebellion.
Yep, spark of rebellion. I like that. I love that. Spark of rebellion. That's fucking badass, man. So what are your podcasts about? Because you got a few.
Yeah, I am on 3 technically full time. My main one is Paranormal the New Normal. It's my solo show with guests every episode, just different people in the paranormal world, where they be investigators, experiencers, scientists who have studied some form of something that has to do with space or cryptids or whatever. I mean, if I can make it relate, I'm gonna make it relate. But yeah. I mean, and I just recorded an episode last night with a witch/Wiccan, and I've done episodes with almost every edge of the paranormal field. Bigfoot investigators. I'm an investigator who has seen the devil 3 times, he believes.
Wow.
It's some interesting stuff. I mean, every episode is a little bit different. Every episode is fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you seen that horror movie Deliver Us from Evil?
Which one?
Deliver Us from Evil. It was made in 2015, 2016.
Is that the one Kane's in?
No. That's See No Evil.
Oh yeah. Can't say I don't think I have, but then again, I just watched 104 horror movies, 80 or 90 horror movies a couple months ago for masturbators. So
nice.
I mean, I could have seen it if it was on that list, but I just don't remember. I saw so many horror movies in a month and a half period. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's about a cop in New York City who doesn't believe in the paranormal at all. He encounters a paranormal case that he fails to look at the case and see it as paranormal. And then something happens. They have to perform an exorcism on him and a priest. And he starts fully believing in the paranormal. He becomes a demonologist. I actually got to interview the guy that was behind that the movie was based on. And it's fucking sick. He's a demonologist now. I fully believe in the paranormal. Wholeheartedly.
I can't not believe in it. I just can't. But I mean, it's just so. There's so much proof of all these different things. Well, most of them anyway. I mean, there's some ridiculous stuff out there. chupacabras and Jersey Devil. I mean, I want to believe in them, but it's not as prevalent as Bigfoot or Dogman evidence or any of that.
Yeah, yeah. Have you had any experiences?
None with cryptids. Like I wish I did, but well, kind of wish I did. Kind of dread happening, but I mean, I currently live in a haunted house that has what we believe is two spirits in it.
Oh shit! What are
Yeah.
some of the things that have been happening?
I mean, when we first moved in and stuff, like it was a little more signs of it and everything, but now we just catch in the garage every so often orb or two flying around on camera.
That's awesome.
And I
That's
mean,
awesome.
I posted the first one on my TikTok and Facebook and everything so people could see it, but
Mhm.
because I mean, people like one person was like, "It's a bug." I'm like, "That's not a freaking bug. That a bug." Tell me when you've seen a full round bug with no wings on it.
Right, right. It makes no sense. It makes zero sense. I grew up in a haunted house, and just outside of where I live now, and that place scared me shitless, and I will never go back to that place. I can drive past it and look at it. I'm like, fuck that place. No, but I also grew up in Civil War territory.
Well, I mean, if you grew up down there, that's a whole nother thing.
Oh yeah,
That area is super haunted.
yeah. Rob says, "I'll tell you one day about my near car crash with a werewolf."
If anybody else said that, I would not want to believe it, but it's Rob, so I kind of have to.
Yeah, I feel like Rob doesn't bullshit.
He really doesn't. It's just his thing. He doesn't.
No,
Uh,
no, that's wicked. What are some of your more interesting moments, like when you're doing your paranormal podcast? What was like your favorite guest that you've had, or a favorite conversation that you've had?
I mean, hard to pick. There's been close to 70, 80 episodes at this point, so
Yeah,
it's. I mean, that's just the ones that released. I got so many more that didn't release yet. That can't even really count into it yet because they're not out there. But I mean, Derek Hayes, I got him from Monsters Among Us podcast to come on. That was like a end all meet goal. Like I wanted to like talk to him for like an hour. I mean,
nice,
I've been on like trivia specials and stuff that his show has done. Like I've been on them, but I never like that was before I even became a podcaster.
nice.
Or yeah, what was that for? Yeah, no, actually, that was like right after I became a podcaster. But still, like I just wanted to have him on and get to know him, and like I worked it out with pretty much from talking to his wife. I worked it out, but it's just like he's a busy man with his show, so it's getting him on is a hard thing to do. But I also got Mark Maskey from Small Town Monsters, who the best documentary company out there. They put out 3 to 4 documentaries a year at least about and television shows about looking for cryptids or just about cryptid cases and everything. It's amazing. So
That's awesome.
having him on and Alexander Petikoff from Small Town Monsters as well, that was another great thing. But I mean, then there's the people you don't expect. I've had a couple pet psychics on, and those were I love animals, so those are amazing conversations.
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually kind of cool because one of them actually talked to one of them could sense things with live animals, and one of them would talk to passed on pets and like help the parents solve why they died or what happened to them.
Wow.
So it's pretty insane. I mean, I'm an animal lover, so those two definitely stuck out in my head. And then, I mean, the one that really had my jaw dropped is one of my first episodes, and it's my guest who supposedly saw/heard the devil 3 times over his lifetime. Once while in the armed services down in South America, and then twice in America. So
Wow. That's insane. I wouldn't want to fuck with the devil.
yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't fully believe he exists even, but I mean, it's just the chance that if he does, like, I don't want to be the guy who says, "Oh, yeah, you're not real." Like, yeah,
Right.
you don't want to be that guy if he's standing in front of you.
Right. And a friend of mine, Boone Duramax, said, "Hey, how you doing? Good. We're just talking to Jeremy, just hanging out." And Gabe 501 Vlog says, "Hey, hey Sean, how are you? I'm good, man. Good. Can't complain." But anyways, dude, like, what is it about cryptids that has you like encapsulated, drawn in, and wanting to learn more about them?
I mean, there was a point in my life where I was actually going to college to be a biologist.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I animals are my thing. They always have been. Going to the zoo was my favorite thing to do since I was a kid. Still to this day, I act like a kid when I go to the zoo. But it's just, I mean, seen some funny shit at the zoo too. But I mean, it's just like it's the idea that these things could exist and still be out there, and a lot of these things are not just randomly showing up. They've been there forever, and they just either still exist after people think they didn't, or it's just things that existed at the beginning of time with us. They just got better at hiding because we were assholes. So,
Yeah, yeah. What exactly classifies as a cryptid? Because many people say many different things.
I mean, the exact definition, I'm pretty sure, is something that people believe to exist that they can't prove exist,
Okay. Okay.
or I mean, prove beyond a reasonable doubt at least.
Yeah. Very true. Um, do you believe in elementals?
Yeah, like earth, fire, water spirits, all that stuff. Ah, I think they existed more at one point, but
Mhm.
I mean, you definitely get a feeling off of some places out there in the world that it's just like there's something about the spot, whether something bad happened there, rubbed off on it, or who knows. I mean, the world was a really different place 1,000, 1,500 years ago, and I think it just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of us destroying the earth is us killing off these things
Yeah.
without realizing we're doing it even.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my theories is that is that not every spirit is an old spirit. Like not every person has an old soul, but when they do, it's more prevalent, and like the way that they died was a lot more violent, a lot more bloody, and it's passed on to the next person to learn their lesson that they didn't learn in the past life.
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's the whole idea. It's the whole thing where I've been told by so many people that are tapped into that world that are mediums, psychics, clairvoyants, clairaudients that they all most of them all pretty much 9%, 98% of them I talk to believe in reincarnation. They say that's the way it happens. Like
Hmm.
it's just a waiting. It's like a waiting, like a DMV waiting room up there, and you're just waiting for your chance to get your ticket back to Earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I got I've been told I got told that by two different psychics that don't know each other that I died in the same fashion in a past life, and it blew me away. Same place, same fashion, and I was like, okay, well that's weird.
yeah, synchronicities like that can't be ignored.
No, no, they can't. And like, and it's crazy because they both have synced up a lot of different things in my life, and I've only known them like 6 months, and they've synchronized a lot in my life and told me things that happened or were happening at certain times, and I was like, dude, you how are you doing this? Like this is bullshit. But in reality, they were just looking out for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some readings done on my show as well by medium psychics or even an astrologer. They did my like whole birth chart for me. Everything was cool, but yeah, I mean, it's weird how the things they know about me, like when they say something about my family or my past or something, and like it's like there's no way you know that. I've never said any detail about that on any podcast ever. I don't post about that type of stuff. Like I'm not posting about like family history and shit. So like the fact they know something's like, whoa, it's it's almost scary, like to a degree, but it's just like so amazing. It's not scary.
Yeah, yeah. Boone says there's a ghost in my apartment. He's a trickster. Well, wouldn't doubt
Yeah,
it.
those happen.
Yeah, trying to get your attention. Yeah, and it's crazy because like I don't ask for the readings because I don't want to know. But like you said, I there's things that I don't post on my social media, and those two psychics have come up and said, "Hey, this has happened," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm a person of proof. I need to know proof, or I need without reasonable doubt, like even if you are 100% validated in who you are, like I still need proof." And so I was like, "Can you give me a name, or can you identify the person in a picture?" And one identified a name, literally gave me the name, and then the other one identified the person in a lineup of three different people. Blew my mind. Absolutely blew my fucking mind because it was the same person.
Hmm. See, that's the thing. The multiple ones I've had doing on my show, either on air or after the episode, but it's always when a couple times there's been a spirit in the room with me. A couple times it's been the one that I know is here, and a couple times they've said it's a family member, and I'm like, really? I find it kind of hard to believe that person be hanging around me still. But
Yeah.
and if they are here now, how often do they come here? That's my question.
Yeah. Well, no, mine was about a person that was alive.
Oh, that's even trippier.
It had to do with a certain situation. Hold on, we'll get to a comment and then I'll share that. So Rob said, "Ghosts are everywhere, all around us. It's a lousy like that."
I mean, if they would show themselves more often and like help me do things, then maybe it wouldn't be so lousy. Like,
Yeah, you want to take space in my house, pay the bills.
mm-hmm. Seriously, like, take care of my dogs for me.
Pay my bills, dude. We'll be settled. You pay your rent. We're all good. No, so like this person, like two of the people came to me, and they're two of my good friends, and I haven't talked about a certain situation on social media, any of that. And I didn't even go to them about it because I had a fucking feeling. And they came to me and they said, "Hey, X, Y, and Z is happening," and I was like, "Okay, well, can you give me a name?" And the one said, "No, but I can identify a picture." So I sent three different pictures. One of the person, two of some random ass people on Facebook. She identified the person. Perfect. Then the other guy, I said, "Can you give me a name?" And he said, "Yes," and spit the name out right away. And it was the same guy from the picture.
Hmm.
Blew me the fuck away. Absolutely floored me because I mean I believe in that stuff, but when you get the proof that you need, and it's about a certain
Yeah,
situation that you've been like really feeling anxious about, that like kind of certifies everything.
yeah. I mean, it makes the world just a little bit weirder. Like, in that, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of my show. Is I always in the beginning episodes say trying to make the world seem a little more normal one day at a time, but it never happens that way anyway in the show. So
No, Rob says at least put out. Right.
I talked to a next porn star on my show named Johnny G that would tell you all about that. There, Rob.
Now
He's in
do you,
he's into spectrophilia.
oh, what is that?
Exactly what it sounds like, sexual ghost.
Oh geez, okay, that's weird.
I I I can see what you think it may be working, but I don't think it could ever work.
No, no, that's weird. That is that I don't kink shame, but that's a little
No, not at
weird.
all. And yeah, it's in. I mean, it's my most watched episode on YouTube.
Really.
Yeah, on YouTube, it's the most watched episode on my Anchor. It's in the top 10 at least on my Anchor for like listens.
Boone says that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, how do you? Hey,
You
my most watched episode is a dude fucking a ghost. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, if you listen to him explain it, it kind of makes sense in a way, but like he's just so straightforward about that. It's just like, wow, he's not even joking. Like he seriously is into this.
Rob says ghost fuckers. Great show name.
Rob, that could be the name of your new show.
Ghost fuckers. Yep. Yeah, that's just. I mean that's crazy. That's to even think about it. Like, okay, like how do you differentiate a ghost and a succubus?
Well, I mean, for the succubus, I think you can tell the difference because they're solid and you have to put a ring on it.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Holy shit.
All I thought about when you said that is a freaking episode of South Park where Chef gets married to a succubus.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. That was a good one. That was an unexpected. I like it. I like it. So, do you believe in UFOs or aliens? Like,
I've seen UFOs.
oh shit, do share.
Yeah, it was down at my it was down at my now wife's then girlfriend's house. We were walking in the backyard like around 6. Actually, it was summer, so it had to be like 7, 8 o'clock because it was getting dark. And all of a sudden, my son says to me, he's like, "Why are those stars moving?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Stars moving?" And I look up. I'm like, "Ew, okay. I guess they're heading somewhere." And literally, it was just like 8 or 9 star-looking objects moving in one direction at the same speed.
Holy shit.
So I mean, they're going somewhere. Don't know where, but it was far enough away where I wasn't that worried about it.
Nice. Rob says succubus is a demon. Yes. I think we're relating to women or demons.
Truer words. Truer words.
And Boone says, I've seen them here. She lives in Utah. Very, very
Oh, oh
understand.
yeah. Utah is definitely a freaking. Yeah, Utah is definitely a freaking hot spot for it. I mean, everywhere in the United States is at this point.
Yeah.
There's really no state that has no UFO sightings.
Shit, you not. I seen a UFO in. Well, I mean, obviously, if I said Alaska, you wouldn't be surprised. But
No,
uh,
I mean, Alaska's got everything.
dude, like no joke. I was driving down the road. I lived on an Air Force base, Army base, and like I'm driving down the road late at night to the point where I can see the sky, and fucking there's 9 lights, dude, in the sky, and that's no abnormal because they're more prolific than your star, right? And they're just hovering
Yeah.
there, and then they go gone. I was like, what?
Mm.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, it's eerie. It's eerie in a way. I mean, and I know people who've had like I know people who believe they've been abducted and stuff. So it's definitely like a. I've interviewed people who believe they've been abducted. It's like interesting as hell.
Wow. Now, now aliens. Like getting into the topic of aliens. Um, do you believe that they're grays, or do you believe that they're something different?
Oh, I mean, I I've heard of so many different species that it's unbelievable. Like, yeah, you got the Greys, reptilians, and the Norse ones, three main ones that everybody sees. Like, they definitely, I believe all three of them definitely exist to some degree. I mean, reptilians been living underneath Los Angeles for what, like 300 years? But,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I mean, there's one in the White House right now. But I mean, I don't know. From everything I've heard from people who know aliens and star seeds and whatnot, like reptilians are just pure evil. Like you don't want to be around them. Like you'll get nauseous to the point because they are so just horrible creatures. I mean, grays, I don't know about them. Like there's like people that think they're evil, people that think they're good, people that think they're like in the middle, like or they're just here doing the work of something else. Like who knows?
Yeah.
The Norse ones, I mean, the Norse ones are like kind of eh. I mean, supposedly a Norse one visited, I think it was Dwight Eisenhower for weeks in the White House and Pentagon. His name was Valiant Thor. If you Google it, you'll find information on it. But it's, I mean, Eisenhower's daughter. I think it was Eisenhower. I always think I had the president wrong when I have it right with that one. But like the daughter of the president at that time, like actually like said like 20 years later, like it actually happened. She was there. She met him.
Wow.
Met it.
Like a full blown
I mean,
alien.
but he's a Norse alien, so he looks like he's from Scotland. He looks like he's from like Finland or Norway or something like that. So, I mean, I
Like
don't
a
know if they're
Norse
from
god.
exactly. I mean, which makes you think. I mean, was Thor an alien? Probably. There's a reason they're doing that in the Marvel's movies for a reason.
Yeah, I mean that would go along the lines of Asgard and all that,
Mm.
and like Norse paganism.
Oh yeah, I mean, but all the old gods could have been aliens, really.
Yeah.
Because I mean, ancient aliens were a thing. They're painting on cave walls for God's sakes, and they only painted what they saw. They didn't paint things they didn't see.
Yeah. Rob
So,
said, "Political humor always so yuck. Sometimes it can be funny."
hey, if I can throw in a good Biden joke, you know I am. But
Nah, so like that gets me, gets the old think tank smoking, and looking at some of the hieroglyphics from Egypt or the Aztec culture, like you see a lot of the things that look like UFOs or like aliens, and that's absolutely crazy that they picked up on that shit before hundreds of thousands of years before we even existed.
I mean, it's the whole thing's insane. I mean, if you talk to like starseeds about like what they believe, they name off like 10 different alien species that they believe they have communicated with, and none of them are the three top ones that everybody knows of.
Oh wow.
Like, I think it's the Pleiadians. Like that's the one that's the most common one I hear the most of that people communicate with or that they are star seeds of.
Hmm.
And apparently they look like water horses.
Hmm. That's wild. I when the conversations in UFOs come up, when people ask, do I believe, I say my response is I fail to believe that we're the most intelligent life form in the fucking universe because we are dumb as shit.
We definitely are not the most intelligent life form in the universe. No, freaking
No,
no. No,
no,
no.
no. Ah, Rob asked, are Vulcans real?
There's a possibility always, and I mean, but if they're real, that means Jedi are real too. So
Yeah. Leading into my next theory, alternate universes. Do you believe that they exist?
alternate dimensions, alternate universes, yeah, I 100% believe they exist. A lot of people say that aliens aren't really from outer space; they're from other dimensions,
Hmm.
and that they travel through dimensions because traveling through space is literally impossible,
Yeah.
as far as we know. And but yeah, I mean, it's just, but I mean, the possibilities are endless. They really are. And I mean, I had a guest named Vincent Field on my podcast. He is an astral projectionist and a lucid dreamer.
Wow.
And he's traveled through a bunch of different dimensions, he says, and the creatures he's seen or just like not seen but felt are, and some of the dimensions are just so, like, some of them like are friendly as hell and they want to welcome you, kind of. They said other places you go, you just get the worst feeling in the world, and there's just these horrible looking creatures, and you want to get out of there as soon as possible.
Mm. I feel like there is an alternate, like there's alternate dimensions, alternate universes, but we can't fucking fathom them. We can't justify in our brains because our brains are only able to justify so much. I feel.
Oh yeah, I mean, we only use like what, 10% of our brains, if that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it's, and that's pretty much what every medium psychic will tell you is if you open your mind up and learn how to use more of it, then you have more abilities. Most of them will say everybody can do it. They just have to unlock it.
Yeah. Where do you think that disconnect happens where we go from like being young and being able to like experience some paranormal stuff to older and not being able to?
I mean, I think it's just the way we're raised. Like we get told not to tell stories after a while. We get told like that, oh, like don't be scared of that thing in your room. It's nothing. It's just your imagination.
Yeah.
Like we're conditioned to not believe in that a lot. I mean, I never really had any experiences as a kid, so I wasn't conditioned for it because I never just had anything to complain about. But a lot of people do because they grew up in older houses and there's something there. And I mean, you used to have to kind of, from what I hear from a lot of people, they were told their whole childhood not to believe in it. Like, stop talking about that. People are going to think you're crazy. So they did until they got older in college or even older. Some of them in their 50s, 60s, they finally started opening up about it and they were able to reconnect to it all.
Yeah. And a wrestling term, the suspension of disbelief. I
No,
believe in that.
that's definitely a wrestling term.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually had a conversation with a wrestler and I told him my biggest gripe and complaint about AEW is how am I supposed to believe that 180-pound fucking Darby Allin can beat Brody King, choke him the fuck out. He said suspension of disbelief, and I said, brother, there's only so much I'm willing to believe at this point. Yeah, but I, you know, the paranormal has kind of like always intrigued me. and I think that what how do you feel like if you get like a group of people together, it amplifies the energy in the area, or do you think that one person can output that energy more than other people?
I think it can go both ways, honestly, and I think that it depends, really. I mean, because a group of people can just mimic what you say you're feeling because they want to make you feel good, or just or it's like mind trick almost, where like your mind wants you to believe it because someone else said it.
Yeah. Do you believe in like vampires or like social vampires? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, like Collins on What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's. I definitely believe in vampires because of the case of the Highgate vampire in London.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is the main reason I believe in them. And I mean, there's multiple stories of versions of them in South America, Africa, Asia. So
Yeah.
a lot of creatures are similar. But I mean, the the mind vampires. I mean, I kind of can see it, but I also can kind of see it just being a story people make up because there's always been people who are egotistical, who are just attention whores, and they want to suck everything up in the room so they get the most attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely been around those people that like just suck all the energy right out of you, and it's just like fuck.
I mean, that's what kids do on a daily basis, but
Yeah. 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 I can agree. I can agree on that. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like, what is about the vampire case in London? Why is that so prolific? Because I don't really know too much about it.
the Highgate vampire has been seen for over hundreds of years. It's in a cemetery, the Highgate Cemetery in London, and it's just a very like so many people have seen it, and like it just makes and it's London, so you kind of want to believe it's real
Yeah. Yeah.
because London's creepy as hell with all the stories that come out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fucking terrifying. Rob says, and all women. Yes, all women are. Good women won't. Shitty women will. But anyways, I digress. I pull away from my comment. Dude, yeah, I got to go to London back in 2016 when I was in the army for a week. Well, I got to go to England for a week and then spend a day in London. And dude, there's definitely some places in London that are like heebie-jeebie worthy.
Well, I mean, you got to figure the spirit of Jack the Ripper's still around there somewhere.
Yeah. Speaking of Jack the Ripper, actually, we'll get to Jack the Ripper in a second. Boone said has a good question. Werewolves. What are your thoughts on werewolves?
Well, funny you should ask. One, I hate the word werewolf. I hate it. The acceptable words are dogmen, or I mean, if you want to go French Cajun, you can go rougarou. But I mean, I fully believe in them. I believe in dogmen. Yes. Are there dogmen that only transform to wolves at the full moon and going to be killed with a silver bullet? That seems less believable. But I've been told that they might exist too. That there's multiple different types of dogmen.
Mm-hmm.
I did a episode with D.A. Roberts of the North American Dogman Patrol and NADP. They have a website, and just he has so many stories of him hunting them that it's just insane.
Yeah.
And not like hunting, like just like looking for.
Yeah, I have a friend that lives in Louisiana, and I was watching a documentary about the Rougarou or a show about the Rougarou down there. I want to say it's Baton Rouge, and I asked him. I said, "What are your thoughts on the Rougarou?" And he said, "Absolutely, 100% true." He's like, "There's many cases that happen around this area, in which people go missing, and there's all the signs of the Rougarou there."
Yeah, I mean, I've had the same person who had the story about the 3 times of the devil. His buddy in the army or armed forces, wherever I say war, I forget, I don't honestly remember. But his buddy in the army grew up in New Orleans, and he swore to him that he saw the Rougarou twice.
Shit.
And I mean, because he saw a statue of Anubis in Egypt when they were over there, and he was like, "What the hell is that?" He's like, "I've seen that twice in my life."
Wow.
And
Holy shit.
that right there, think about it. If Anubis looks the same as what he's seen, that kind of explains the old god thing too.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Um, yeah, I would never fuck with Ururu, and there's a reason why. Like, I have not gone down to Louisiana yet. There's a lot of old spirits, a lot of old lore down there.
I mean, we did an episode on Dogman and my other paranormal discussion show, Global Strangeness.
Yeah,
We go live every Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. But
yeah, I'd never fuck around down there. And on top of that, like all the voodoo down there.
oh yeah, you don't fuck with voodoo. I've had some guests who were into voodoo on my show. Now I never got a full voodoo practitioner. That's kind of my wish list. But
Hmm. There's a few things I won't fuck with. Voodoo's one of them, and Ouija boards are another one.
yeah, from what I've been told by a lot of people, Ouija boards should not be being marketed to middle school kids.
No, yeah, you can go to Target and get a fucking Ouija board right now. Like that's absolutely insane. It's like hey, you're old enough. You're old enough to have a smartphone and sell your soul to the fucking devil.
I mean, the fact that in Salem they built it last, I think it was a year or two ago for Halloween, they built like a full, huge Ouija board that was like an acre big or 2 acres big. Like
Did they?
it's, yeah, it was like a Halloween celebration type thing. And I'm like, they're like, is this how you want to summon demons? Because this is how you summon demons.
Right, right.
I
I don't
mean,
understand. I don't understand why investigators would use that anyways.
yeah. Any investigator I know that talks about it, they just talk down about the people that do use it because it's just like, it's not a real tool.
No.
I mean, there's way better tools where you need to have a medium or psychic on your team that can communicate with whatever's there.
Yeah, definitely. You don't need to put yourself at risk to get evidence.
God, no.
That's fucking stupid. All right, so going back to the England thing, um, yeah, have you or do you get into some like different conspiracy theories at all? Like, have
Oh,
you heard the?
I did a
What?
whole bracket on my show for conspiracy theories.
Did you hear
We got
about the? Go ahead.
we got into a lot of conspiracy theories, pretty damn deep on that bracket. But
Did you hear about the conspiracy theory that Jack the Ripper is H. Holmes?
yes, I've heard that theory multiple times, and I I don't know what to believe with Jack the Ripper. I honestly don't. I mean, he obviously was a real person, but it's just who knows what. There's so many possibilities for who he could have been because we know next to nothing about London back then.
Yeah,
Like he could have just been some random homeless guy that was pissed off at the world. They couldn't afford a hooker, so he started killing hookers.
yeah, very true.
Like,
But my thing is that, with the exception of the last lady that was killed, all of them had precision cuts, like surgical cuts. They were all generally in the same spot, and they all had generally the same length of the cuts. And when they went back, I watched a show. It's on the History Channel. It's called The American Ripper, and it talks about the parallel
yeah.
between. You seen that?
Oh, I know about the American Ripper. I mean, they tried to play it off as supernatural like it was Dean, but
No, no,
oh
no.
no,
So
oh no, I'm sorry, that was Vampire Diaries. They played it off like it was Dean on Vampire Diaries, or David,
no,
not Dean.
so Jack the Ripper, or so on the show called American Ripper, they tried to compare Jack the Ripper and H. Holmes as the same person, and like every fucking show that you will ever encounter that is evidence based, at the end of it they say we don't have enough conclusive evidence to confirm or deny.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're always going to say, but I don't know. It's possible. It's 100% possible, but there's so many other people that it could be.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be any doctor in England at that time that just was frustrated with the world.
yeah. I think the biggest thing for me, the selling point for me was that they they had found H. Holmes name and all of his aliases on a dossier on a ship that was going from America to England when right before the Ripper murders happened, and then his name on a dossier going back after they were done. That was my biggest like holy shit.
I mean, I mean, it's highly possible. It's highly possible. I
Yeah.
mean, back then, being a serial killer was pretty easy to get away with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There was
Definitely.
there was no FBI or anything like it at that point. It just was local police who can't do anything really.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what are some of the more crazy like stories that you've heard that you're like, I don't know if I believe in that shit or not?
I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, I have a tendency to believe that everything. I mean, okay. This is a story that's been played on Monsters Among Us multiple times.
Hmm.
For those who don't know, Monsters Among Us is a call-in show hosted by Derek Hayes where he plays people's recordings or of their encounters with anything paranormal, and then he does his commentary on it. And he will throw in some news stories once in a while about things that are similar or origin stories. There's this guy named Mac. He's from down south. I want to say Georgia. I could be wrong. He was hunting in the woods in his tree stand, and he fell out of his tree stand. Straight up broke his back, basically.
Hmm.
And he swears he was picked up by a female Bigfoot, forced to drink her breast milk, and he actually heard the male Bigfoot behind, like somewhere in the woods around them, like telling her, like, hurry up, like put him down, put that down, you need to get out of here. If more of his kind come, they'll shoot us, like that type of thing. Like obviously it's Bigfoot talk, so you can't really hear what they're saying, but that's what he assumed they're saying. And he said he said the Bigfoot breast milk was the worst tasting thing he ever tasted in his life. That smelled horrible. And but the funny thing is, his family did come look for him eventually that night and rescue him, kind of. And he did really break his back. He had to go. He was laid up for like 6 months, but he healed faster than any doctor would ever think he would have healed because, and he attributes it to the breast milk. That's the only thing he could say to explain it.
Wow.
That's the strangest story I ever heard, and the way he tells it in the actual telling, I believe it with full sincerity that that happened.
That's crazy.
I mean, that right there is to me one of the biggest reasons I believe Bigfoot exists and are 100% real is because stories like that.
Yeah. I believe that there's a ton of things that exist in this world, but like I said earlier, I don't think our brains have the capacity to actually analyze it and really think on it and say this is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely true. I mean, you've ever got that? You ever been in the woods and you just get that feeling like something's not right, but you can't explain what it is, and you
Yeah.
feel like you're being watched, but there's no one else around. Like it's just strange. Like it could be so many things that's just impossible to tell.
Yeah. Well, going into movies and cinema, dude, like I grew up 15 minutes from where the Blair Witch Project was filmed. And when I seen that movie, it gave me an unhealthy fear of the woods at night to the point where like I don't step foot in the woods at all. I won't go fucking camping, nothing. Even with like protection. And it got so far, like when I was in the army and we did training in Germany, like doing land nav at night, I wouldn't go in the woods. You know, you
Hmm.
stop in the middle of the road that you're walking down, you hear shit moving all around you that shouldn't be moving. Fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, well, Germany is a freaking old ass place too, and that's very. I got a lot of old stuff moving around in those woods, but I mean, it's just I take my dogs out some nights, and it's just like they sense something out there. They sense something, and I mean, yeah, there's a lot of logical explanations for animals that we know exist that could be, but
Yeah.
there's always the thought like, what if it is a Bigfoot?
Boone says I'm about 3 hours from Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, Skinwalker Ranch is a dream site for me to go to. I mean, I want to get the guys from the TV show on my pod as well.
That's a good show.
I am a season behind, I think, but I think I got rid of Discovery. I got to figure out who has it on there. I think Hulu has it, but I think they put up the newest season. I haven't seen yet.
Oh wait, season 4?
I think 3 is the last one I haven't seen.
Okay, 3
I
was
could
good.
be I could be wrong. I don't know, but I watched at least the first couple.
Yeah, when I don't remember what season it was, but I think on one of the stretches of roads they did GPR on the road and they seen an object not too far underneath the surface that was like 100 meters long by like 50 meters wide. That's absolutely insane because nothing like that should be under the ground. But they didn't get permission to dig.
Of course not. Why would they?
Yeah, yeah, it's bullshit. Um, like, have you interviewed anybody that's actually like seen or been around like Skinwalker Ranch?
Um, I don't believe so. No.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm fully
uh,
convinced that there's something there.
there's gotta. I mean, there's gotta be. I mean, the whole Skinwalker thing itself is just ridiculously like the amount of stuff that's going on like there is just so insane.
Yeah,
Like everything, aliens, skinwalkers alone. I mean, ghost spirits, shadow people. It's just insane. Like it's like a lot of places. It's like all the triangles. Just a supernatural phenomena hotspot.
yeah. And Boone said, "Or the dead cow." That was nuts. Yeah, yeah. The cow that died out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, cows have been being mutilated by aliens for the last like 60 years, as far as we know, but even further back, really.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Did you hear about that cult? They classify it as a cult, but a religion that was created in I and some and I want to say like an Asian country where they communicate with aliens and the aliens tell them about natural disasters.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, and and so like I was watching it. I think it was Expedition Unknown or Expedition X. I like
Yeah,
that show. That show's fucking wild. But they went over to the country and they were granted access into the religion to like document, and they
yeah.
were catching alien activity like all over the goddamn place.
I mean, the government basically admitted aliens exist at this point. So
Yeah.
it's if anyone doesn't believe in them, I kind of question their intelligence.
I actually, one of my friends said that. One of my friends said, if you don't believe in aliens by this point, she lives in Alaska. She said, if you don't believe in aliens at this point, tell me how you're raised and who hurt you.
I mean, the Men in Black have been existing for 70, 80 years at this point for reasons. And before that, they probably existed too, but we probably just didn't know about them as much.
Yeah. Did you see the video about the Men in Black in Alaska?
I have not.
Ooh.
I've heard about them, but I haven't actually watched anything about them.
So there's a video floating around on YouTube. I'm gonna have to find it and send it to you. But it's about this lady. She was in a store in Anchorage, or her place of business in Anchorage, and everybody left. Two guys, completely bald, black suits. They didn't show the front of them, but she comes in, or they come into the shop. You can see them moving around the outside because the camera's in a corner facing her, her desk, and
Yeah.
there's you can see the sidewalk, and they go around the side and they come in, and she gets freaked out and she pulls her pistol up because I mean you can take a fucking pistol anywhere in Alaska. She pulls her pistol up, aims it at him, and then it's as if she's in a trance, and she just puts it down, leaves her purse, leaves everything, walks out, and woman's never been seen again.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I mean, it's highly believed that extraterrestrials work with the Men in Black.
yeah. Boone says I feel like they make movies that are true, but saying it's fictional.
It's true. Predator movies. The guy who wrote them, his father worked for the government
Yeah.
and knew certain things about certain aliens that have cloaking ability.
Wow.
Whether it be technology or natural, we don't know. But
Wow.
his the guy who wrote the Predator movies, his father was a military man. So
Holy shit.
that
Now,
right there, did he just hear stories from his father and he made movies out of it, or
yeah. All jokes aside, do you think that they're like aliens that are living amongst us?
oh god, yes, there
Yeah.
has been since the beginning of time. Basically, we just don't know it because they either have technology to make themselves look human, or they have technology to or they just have the ability to make something where they want, or they don't even begin with. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. There's some weird shit that's going on in this world, especially now.
Oh god, yeah.
And it's weird. I don't know if any like psychics or any of that have talked to you about it, but like I'm not psychic or any of that, but like, and I don't know if you felt this, but there was a weird shift that started happening in October, like just a weird. I don't know if it's the Earth rotating or off an axis or something, but like there's just a weird shift in the Earth, and that started in October or was more prevalent in October, and it's kind of like continued on.
Well, funny enough, there's been what a lot of psychics, mediums, and pretty much anybody in the paranormal field calls a spiritual awakening. There's arguments about whether some people believe it happened 6 years ago now in 2017, and a lot of other people believe it happened in 2012,
Mhm.
which they think that's what the Mayan calendar was counting to, not to the apocalypse.
Hmm. What do they think the apocalypse looks like?
They don't say, but I mean, they don't think the Earth goes through cycles. They don't think it's going to be an apocalypse anywhere near future
Yeah.
because the Earth goes through cycles. I mean, it goes through ice ages, it goes through new awakenings of people being able to do things that they haven't been able to do in hundreds of years, really. But it's just more and more people are sensing the power.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely horrible when you get people that actually have real ability and they want to come out and share that ability with people, show them that it's real, right? And they get mocked for it and called crazy and then ostracized.
It doesn't happen as much anymore, though.
Yeah.
People nowadays are subject for pretty much everything, generally. I mean, there's always going to be the outliers in this world, but for the most part, there's Twitter and Instagram and all that are full of psychics, mediums, anything you can imagine.
Yeah. Did you see the Buddhist monk or the practicing Buddhist monk that went on, like I think it was America's Got Talent? He was
You can't
a white guy.
can't say I have.
Okay. So he actually did levitation and people mocked him to the point where he left the show because he was using chi to levitate, which is completely that's like what you're trying to get at, right? And he used, he had a staff with him and he was using chi, using his energy to push out and push up, and he did, and everybody ostracized him to the point where they called him fake. They tried to debunk him, and he ended up leaving the show.
That's horrible.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like his whole fucking practice. That's what Buddhists do. That's their whole fucking practice.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just sad.
yeah, yeah. Now, do you believe that chi works the way that people think it does, or do you think there's a little bit more?
I'm honestly not that familiar with like how chi is supposed to work, even. But I mean, it's just I know for a fact there's energies in this planet that if you learn to how to use them, you learn how to access them, you can do incredible things with them. I've seen proof. I've talked to people who've done it, but it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. Like everybody tells me, oh, you need to meditate just for a couple minutes a day at first, and you'll open up more. And I'm like, I don't have time to meditate. There's too much going on in the world where I have to, in my world, where I have to freaking do shit and try to play video games. I don't want to meditate.
Video games are my meditation.
Hmm.
Before
True.
we go, what games are you playing right now?
The most highly debated game right now in the world, Hogwarts Legacy.
Is it good?
I'm about 50 hours in. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. And I'm nowhere near done with it yet. I don't think so.
Or do you create your own wizard, or do you play as pre-made ones?
Oh no, completely create your own wizard.
Sick. Do you get to choose your house, or are you kind of placed in a house?
You get to choose your house. I believe. I mean, the Sorting Hat put me in Gryffindor, and I mean, I was like, and it says like, do you want to keep this house or no? And I'm like, I kind of want to be Slytherin, but yeah, fuck it, Gryffindor.
You seem like a Slytherin kind of guy.
I mean, it's full of bitches. That's one reason I want to be in it.
Yeah.
Draco Malfoy is a bitch.
Jer-
So is his father. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
But I mean,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, it's funny. The game takes place 100 years before Harry Potter takes place.
no way.
1890s.
What the fuck?
So there are some characters you will recognize, though, like a certain Phineas Nigel Black.
Nice. That's badass.
And there is a Professor Weasley at Hogwarts, though no mention of the family that we all love and adore.
Mm. Wow, that's wild. I'm excited. I think I might end up getting that game. I think it's gonna be the next
Oh,
game I purchase.
it's so worth it. It is so worth it. I mean, I was talking about last night in the interview with on my show with the witch because
Mm.
we were talking about the hate it's getting in the world because of J.K. Rowling being anti-trans and everything. But
Yeah,
they have a trans character in the game, for God's sake. Like, I don't know what people are bitching about.
yeah. I I don't understand people's like logic. Like if it doesn't concern you and it doesn't affect you, then why are you worrying about it?
Because some people like to be problems just to be problems.
Yeah, yeah. Some people like to have their voice heard, and it doesn't really mean anything.
Exactly. I mean, the game's already made more than any game has in recent like time. So if you think a Harry Potter game is not going to do amazing, you're out of your mind.
Are you a Diablo fan?
Not really. Never been
No.
into that series.
Okay. I'm a huge Diablo fan. I'm gonna end up pre-ordering the Diablo 4. I'm
I,
excited for it.
I saw it. I don't know. If I got into newer Diablo, I probably would like it, but I just it never was my game style really. I mean, I played Dragon Age. That's like the closest thing I've played to it, I believe.
Yeah.
But
It was weird. I grew up with Diablo 1, Diablo 2. I watched my dad play Diablo 1 when I was a kid, and then Diablo 2 I played a little bit older, and then when Diablo 3 came out on, all the systems, I fucking played it, and now it's to the point where I'm like, I got to play Diablo 4.
I mean, it's just I don't know. It's never been in my like purview of games.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know why, but no particular reason. No, I have no hate. I have no hate for it, but just there's so many other games.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man, we're about to wrap up. Where can we find you, Jeremy?
Well, you can find Paranormal the New Normal, Maniacal Music Musings, and Global Strangers on all podcast places. I believe Paranormal the New Normal, Maniacal Music Musings are on 10 different streaming services, plus Good Pods. So anywhere you go, you go. You can find me on Facebook as Paranormal the New Normal / Maniacal Music Musings Podcast with an S Facebook group. Working on naming that better. You can find me on Twitter and the Gram as @Juggalo Bastard, and you can find me on TikTok as @Juggalo Bastard Podcast with an S, and you can find us on YouTube too. Just search the show names, either Paranormal the New Normal or Maniacal Music Musings. Every episode that's been released is on YouTube as well.
Sweet. Sweet. It has been awesome. I had a great time talking some paranormal shit because I don't really get to talk paranormal stuff all the time.
Oh, I get to do all the time, and that never gets old.
I tried to do a spooky October show, and fucking nobody wanted to do it. I had 3 people that signed up for it, and I was like, you know what? This is bullshit.
Unfortunately, we didn't know each other at that point, but
Spooky October, this October, you down?
of course.
I'm
Always.
down for it too. All right. And from the Antisocial Network, I am your host, Sean, at Late Night Live with Sean. I've had a blast. Jeremy, I think you had a blast too, yeah?
Been a fun time.
Been a fun time. All right. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you for hanging out with us. Much love. Talk to you next time. Good night. I didn't end the show. That happens, guys. That happens. I didn't end the show. That's my bad. Well, I'm going to end the show now.